You're listening to the Life Friendly Business Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Thomas Wong, business mentor, author, and founder of the Cocoon VIP membership, empowering women around the world to build businesses on their terms. If you want to grow and scale a business that works in harmony with your family and your life, this podcast is for you. Today on the Life Friendly Business Podcast, I'm speaking to Darya Simanovich. She's a CEO and founder of Chelsea Creperie, Chelsea Swim Spa, and also the social enterprise Buy One, Give One. Darya arrived in the UK with £200 in her pocket, basic English and no connections. Yet she has been able to build this incredible portfolio of businesses. We discussed how Darya has been able to build teams to help her run these multiple businesses and also give her the flexibility that she needs around family life. Hi, Darya. Thanks so much for joining me on the Life Friendly Business Podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
So you have got a very impressive portfolio. You are the founder of the Chelsea Creperie, also the Chelsea Swim Spa. You've got a property business. You also run a social enterprise, Buy One, Give One. You're a business advisor and an angel investor. How did this all start for you?
I guess I was a bit entrepreneurial when I was a teenager. I was always trying to spot opportunities. And the first time I went in the US, I saw opportunities there. And I kind of started a small IT business where I did a bit of a web developing and web design using the IT specialists in developing countries and basically taking the project from the US and using the workforce from cheaper labor, so to speak. So that was my first venture when I was 21. But I also, that one unfortunately didn't survive because I have to move to another place, to the UK in London. And I worked for a number of companies and I went in investment banking. And when I started to have family, that's when the Chelsea Swim Spa was born. And then 3 years later, I opened Chelsea Creperie. And then now I run a social enterprise and I do a bit of business mentoring.
That's amazing. And so it sounds like the type of businesses that you've built, they probably needed investment, right, to start off. And how do you, because I know that one of the barriers for women in entrepreneurship is that we don't take as many risks as men. You know, it's a generalization, but, how did you find that?
Absolutely. I started some businesses with no investments or like pretty close to zero investment. For example, the social enterprise, Buy One, Give One, is when you buy one pair of socks from us, we give one pair of socks to a homeless person. And to buy a few pair of socks to test that idea to see if people resonate wasn't very expensive as an investment. But of course, the property and the pool and the creperie, there is a bit of investment needs to happen. So my husband helped as well. It kind of helped me because he worked for a corporate company, kind of stable job, so that I was able to take a few risks here and there and develop my entrepreneurship.
It really is. It's amazing what you've achieved. And especially now you're running this social enterprise as well. So you're able to give back. And I know a lot of the women that I work with, they're heart led and they're running their businesses because they want to make a positive impact. But how have you done all this? Like, have you got lots of different teams that are helping you?
I guess delegation is a struggle still, and it's not everything which is delegated. So it was all kind of baby steps. In the beginning, in the swim school, I was taking all the bookings by myself. And for me, it was hard to delegate. I thought they wouldn't do it as well as I do it. And actually, only when I opened the Chelsea Creperie, I realized there is a very strong need for my time in the creperie. So I had to find a solution. So then I kind of have a team who helps me with Chelsea Creperie, team which helps me in Chelsea Swim Spa. And because I had very small children, I always was thinking about the model, how to work in business, or how to work on the business rather than in your business. And I believe it helped me.
So you mentioned about having children. So have you managed to adopt a life-friendly business approach with this empire that you have created?
It's still very small businesses, they're all very local. They're all based where I live. The building where I run the swim school is in my building. The Creperie is like literally 1 minute from my home. So it's all kind of was almost born around my children. So I can still do the drop-offs, I can still do pickups, I can take holidays when I want. So it's, for me, it was, I'm so grateful the way I can run my businesses now.
And have you had to make difficult decisions then to be able to stick to those things that are important to you?
It's a very good question. The difficult decision for the entrepreneurs, I believe, is like delegating and actually then realizing, there is someone can do it even better than me. And I kind of still hesitating, should I go back in a full-time employment or not? And I guess for me at the moment, when children are still young, I want to stay and work within my businesses. But then if I believe there is a bigger business, a bigger impact I can make, and when the kids flee the nest, potentially I would be open to go back to, let's say, 9 to 5, if an office job. Like, why not?
And have you got someone to guide you? I mean, all these different businesses you've created, have you had business support yourself?
I am unfortunately not. And it's so lonely to be an entrepreneur. I just graduated last year from the Goldman Sachs program. It's called 10,000 Small Businesses Growth Program, run by Oxford University and Goldman Sachs. It's a free program. So that was a bit of a support. But I started running businesses much longer. And I guess now we hear more about business mentors and business coaching. So it's, if I had an opportunity to take up on support that way, I would have definitely go ahead and would have taken it. But unfortunately, it's hard on us. That's why the burnout, and we need to really take care of ourselves.
Absolutely, 100%. And now you are helping other people who are starting up businesses. You're holding workshops for startup entrepreneurs. So what kind of challenges are they facing? And have you been able to share your experiences with them?
I love all these workshops for aspiring entrepreneurs, and they all have very different problems. But I would say a lot of them are with their mindset, with the fear, with the kind of doubts, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs. And I guess for me, sharing with them that you might consider starting lean way, kind of the baby steps. And it takes everything in this life takes such a long time. So kind of, the mindset is one thing as kind of obstacles they have. And also it's important as well to dig into their values, because they think there are core values and aspirational values. And if these values are in conflict, then they would be procrastinating. They wouldn't be starting a business because stability is very important for them. So they would prefer to stay in the corporate world. So it's very interesting, all these aspiring entrepreneurs and what they share. And I love working with them.
And I think that's an interesting thing that you said about the stability, because I don't think running a business is for everyone. And, one of the things that really gets to me is all this chatter online about earning 6 or 7 figures, and you can follow my 10-step plan and earn 10K a month, and you'll be able to do that really quickly and all these things. But actually, you have to be the right kind of person, and you have to have the right characteristics to be able to implement that. what do you think about that? Do you agree?
Absolutely, I agree with you. I'm also a big believer of kind of maybe starting side hustle. So there is a possibility to keep your corporate job, to start a little side hustle, maybe even work part-time if you can for the potential kind of idea the competitor you have in mind. So starting really baby steps. And I agree with you. For mothers, it's so important not to be burnt out. And, I talk about side hustle, but it's too much as well, the corporate job and a side hustle and a family. It's a bit too much. And I believe if you really have a passion and if you really want to do something and you're stuck in an unhappy corporate job, then start doing tiny bits, but not like maybe once a month you do a workshop. Be kind to yourself. That's what's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that, with that's the whole idea of this life-friendly approach as well, is that we do recognize that we need to protect our energy, especially as small business owners, because, we are the person that makes things happen in the business, especially if you're a solopreneur. And, we have to be really careful not to fall into that trap of being overwhelmed and overstretched. So
absolutely.
How does that work for you? Do you have certain non-negotiables in your life that you fit your work around?
It's a very good question. And you know how they say never. So I try to be flexible. I'm very lucky that I can take holidays when my kids are on holidays. I am lucky that I can even have a nap pretty much every day because it kind of sparks my creativity and productivity. In some countries, they kind of also made it almost like legal to have naps. So I'm a big believer in managing your energy rather than your time. So I mean, I hear people talk about toxic work environment or toxic boss or things like that. So for me, that would be definitely a non-negotiable. I wouldn't want to work in a company like this.
And so what does I love the fact that you make time for naps. I'm a big napper. I can do the whole power nap thing of like 15 minutes and then I'm like, ta-da! And it really,
it's amazing.
Really helps. But what does your day look like then on an average week?
So my husband does drop-offs for kids. I do all the pickups. So morning is the most productive time of the day. And I think for any entrepreneur, it's very important to know what is their most productive time of the day and use it effectively, like switch off all the notifications and things like that. I am a big fan of Julie Cameron, the book called The Artist Way, where she talks about writing 3 pages every day. And it doesn't have to be novels or poems. It's just all the thoughts which comes to you, like very basics, like, oh, you forgot to order this on Amazon, or you forgot to pick up a dry cleaning. When you download your thoughts, basically it creates headspace for your other creative projects. And currently I'm in the process of writing a book, The Immigrant Entrepreneur. So after 3 pages, I try to spend time on editing my book or adding a new content, at least 15 minutes. And only after my most productive time of the day, I spend time kind of all the other admin and routine things I need to do, still the scheduling for my helpers for the swimming school and check-ins on Airbnb, and also kind of the Creperie team meetings and things like that.
I'd love to hear more about the book. Tell us a bit more about that.
So the book is called The Immigrant Entrepreneur, and it's about how to start your business from scratch, kind of proof if I can do it, you can do it. Because I came in London with zero money, basic English, not knowing anyone. And now I run 4 small businesses. I have a family of 3. I live in central London. So this message, if I can do it, you can do it. And I love the idea of kind of the wholeness of the person. So I don't talk only about the business hacks, but also kind of life hacks. So all these aha moments I gathered from my workshops, I share in the book.
That sounds absolutely brilliant. What's your time scale? When do you think that's going to be out in the world?
It's a great idea. The dream would be December 2023. You know how they say to set up goals, you need to be as precise as possible with the timeline and everything. So yeah, the dream would be 2023. Maybe it's too ambitious. And if it's December 2024, I would be as delighted.
So that's, I love that. And I love the fact that you are using that format as well to share all your expertise. And I know what a big project it is to publish a book as well. So what advice would you give to people that are listening who, you know, maybe they're really at the beginning of their journeys and maybe they feel quite daunted by the idea of setting up a business or, you know, investing not only their money, but also their time into setting up a business? What advice would you give them?
It's a very good question. And I was listening to your podcasts and I remember what you shared, how important it is to enjoy the ride, because of course, entrepreneurial business is quite a ride. So to enjoy the journey is very important. I love this idea of starting a business the lean way, try to spend as little time as possible and as little resources to create MVP, to create this minimum viable product so you could test it with real clients and get a feedback. And I guess believe in yourself. No one else will do it for you. And how they say as well, feel the fear, but do it anyway.
Brilliant. And I really, what you just said then about believing yourself, because no one else will do it for you. I think that's really true. And I think that's definitely the journey of discovery that I've been on personally over the last few years, is recognizing that validation comes from within. And, you know, often we spend so much time looking externally for that. Like we feel like if only we would get that, you know, that appreciation or the gratitude or whatever from other people, from our clients and customers, then we would feel like we were doing something good. But actually, we need to find that within ourselves.
Absolutely. It's amazing what you're saying, because I was doing my workshop with 14 people on Sunday, and one thing which lady said, she's here because we all need validation, she said. And I wrote it down because I didn't know what to say. It's like some thoughts I need to be doing, to dig deeper, to understand it better. And when you're saying now, validation comes from within, it's so true. And like now it's a light bulb moment for me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I think, you know, for me, I learned that from Tony Robbins. I've got to say, I went to his 4-day immersive coaching event called Unleash the Power Within. And that was one of the things that he really drilled home. And it is absolutely game changing, because you know, I think so many of us have, you know, moments of feeling very low in confidence. And it's like you're looking around yourself to hold on to something. And actually, we need to find that anchor within ourselves. And that's incredibly empowering to recognize that and to know that you have got everything you need within yourself to achieve what you want to achieve.
Beautiful. Tony Robbins is still on my bucket list. I haven't been to his events yet. I saw his wonderful video on Netflix, of course, and I follow him. But yes, great.
He's coming to Birmingham this next year. He's doing an Unleash the Power Within. I think it's in July, actually. I was looking at that thinking, oh, should I go again? Because it was amazing. So what's coming up next for you?
I will continue delivering my workshops, and I will continue writing my book to start with, and I will work on growing my businesses, growing sales, growing profit. So and doing it on my terms so that I could spend quality time with my family.
I love it. And where can people find out more about you?
I have a quite a bit of a following on Instagram, so it's at Darya Simanovich, but also there is a website on chelseaswimspa.co.uk and chelseacreperie.co.uk, but happy to share my contacts, of course.
Lovely. And we'll put that in the show notes as well. But one final question. So if you could go back in time to when you first started in business, what advice would you give yourself?
Such a beautiful question. I love when they say you can do anything you put your mind into. And that's what I would tell my younger self.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to speak to you today.
Oh, thank you so much, Erin.
Does every win feel slightly tinged with guilt? Do you have your best month ever financially in your business, but yet you feel like it's been at the detriment of your health or your family? The success and fulfillment you're looking for can only be enjoyed when your business and home life are balanced in harmony. It's time to stop trading off between life and business. It's time to evolve them both. Join me for our next 12-week Evolve Mastermind, where you'll work towards your next stretch business goal while maintaining the balance across all areas of your life, so that when you reach your goal, you feel successful, not exhausted, behind, or neglectful. It's time to take back the power. Find out more about the Evolve Mastermind at lifefriendlybusiness.com.